Most men don't actively choose the wrong path. They don't wake up and decide to sabotage their relationships, their mental health, or their sense of meaning. What they do instead is avoid something quietly, something uncomfortable, something uncertain, something that feels risky to face. And for a while, avoidance works. Life stays manageable, conflict stays low, emotions stay contained. But what men rarely see is this. Avoidance always collects interest, and eventually the bill comes due. Most men don't ruin their lives by making bad choices. They do it by avoiding the right ones. They avoid difficult conversations. They avoid emotional honesty. They avoid confronting what feels uncomfortable. And at first, avoidance feels like peace. But avoidance doesn't remove problems. It delays them. And delayed problems don't shrink. They compound. If you keep avoiding what needs attention, you don't escape the cost. You just pay it later with interest. Let's be precise about what men avoid. It's not responsibility. Men handle responsibility every day. It's not effort. Men work hard. What men avoid is emotional exposure, the moment where something could change, for better or worse. They avoid saying, "This isn't working for me. I feel disconnected. I'm not okay. I need something different," because those moments feel destabilizing. They threaten identity. They invite vulnerability. They risk rejection or conflict. So men delay, and delay feels safer than risk. Avoidance often disguises itself as maturity. I'm choosing my battles. It's not worth the argument. I'll deal with it later. But avoidance isn't wisdom. Wisdom engages reality. Avoidance just postpones it. Avoidance often looks like calm. A man stays quiet. He doesn't argue. He doesn't complain. And everyone assumes he's handling it well. But calm that comes from suppression isn't peace. It's containment. Real peace comes from resolution. Avoidance just traps tension inside. If staying silent feels heavy instead of freeing, it's not strength. It's deferred discomfort, and deferred discomfort always returns. Here's where the cost starts to appear. Men who avoid emotional truth begin to feel disconnected, not suddenly. Gradually, they feel distant from their partner, from their friends, from themselves. They don't know exactly what's wrong, only that something feels off. And because they've avoided naming the problem, they don't know how to fix it. Let me give you a simple example. A man notices he feels unappreciated in his relationship. He tells himself it's not a big deal. He doesn't want to seem needy. He doesn't want to create conflict. So he avoids the conversation. Weeks pass, months pass. Resentment builds quietly. By the time he finally speaks, he's not calm. He's distant, irritable, checked out. And the moment that could have created connection now creates distance. That's the cost of avoidance. Men often avoid conversations because they fear conflict. But what they don't realize is this. Avoidance doesn't prevent conflict. It reshapes it. Instead of a calm, early conversation, you get resentment, withdrawal, or emotional shutdown. Small honesty early is far less destructive than delayed truth later. Avoidance feels safer in the moment, but honesty is cheaper in the long run. Avoidance also shows up internally. Men avoid asking themselves hard questions. Am I actually happy? Is this aligned with who I am? What am I afraid to admit? They stay busy, productive, functional. But functionality isn't fulfillment, and avoiding inner truth leads to quiet dissatisfaction. Over time, men who avoid these questions begin to feel numb, not depressed, not anxious, just flat. They mistake this numbness for stability, but numbness isn't peace. It's emotional disconnection. Avoidance doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like numbness. A man isn't unhappy, but he isn't fulfilled either, and he's functioning, but not engaged. That's often the result of avoiding emotional truth for too long. You don't lose connection all at once. You lose it slowly by choosing comfort over clarity. And clarity is what brings life back online. Here's an important distinction. Avoidance isn't cowardice. It's protection. Men avoid because at some point, avoidance worked. It helped them survive pressure, rejection, uncertainty. But survival strategies don't always serve growth. What once kept you stable can later keep you stuck. If this feels familiar, pause for a moment. Not to judge yourself, but to notice where you've been postponing something important. And if this kind of reflection helps, you're welcome to stay connected. This channel exists to help men face life more clearly, not more harshly. Avoidance shows up strongly in conflict. Many men withdraw instead of engaging. They go quiet, they shut down, they disengage emotionally. They believe distance will protect them, but distance doesn't resolve tension. It freezes it. And frozen tension eventually cracks relationships. When men avoid conflict, they often believe they're protecting the relationship. But relationships don't break from honest conflict. They break from unspoken tension. Withdrawal doesn't create safety. It creates distance, engagement. Even imperfect is what keeps connection alive. Avoidance feels like control, but it slowly erodes trust. Avoidance also shows up in purpose. Men stay in roles they've outgrown, jobs that drain them, identities that no longer fit. They avoid change because change feels uncertain. But staying misaligned has a cost too, a quieter one. Here's the truth. Most men learn late. Avoidance trades short-term comfort for long-term dissatisfaction. Facing discomfort early is cheaper. Always. Avoidance feels easier today, but it makes tomorrow heavier. Facing discomfort early creates clarity and momentum. Avoiding it creates confusion and stagnation. Men don't pay the price of avoidance immediately. They pay it later in lost connection, meaning, and vitality. Clarity costs less than avoidance ever will. So, what's the alternative? Engagement, not emotional dumping, not aggression, not impulsive confrontation. Engagement means, naming what's true, staying present, addressing things while they're still manageable. It's not dramatic, it's disciplined honesty. And who stop avoiding don't become reckless. They become lighter, clearer, more aligned. They don't carry unresolved weight everywhere they go. If this shifted something for you, let it sit. You don't need to confront everything at once. Just stop postponing the one thing that keeps returning. And if you want more conversations like this, grounded, reflective, and focused on men's inner experience, you're welcome to stay connected, because avoiding less doesn't make life harder. It makes it honest.